Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Bernadette DiPino with the Sarasota Police Department. I'm really proud to announce an initiative that we are partaking with the Department of Transportation here in Florida about public safety dealing with pedestrians and cyclists. We're really honored to have a NASCAR driver with here, Scott Lagasse Jr., who's right behind me. And I'm going to just tell you how excited we all are to have him here and have his support. He's an avid cyclist, and he's helping law enforcement across our state educate people about the importance of safety for both pedestrians and cyclists. I'm proud to introduce right now Sergeant King, who is coordinating this effort, and he's going to tell you a little bit about this program. Sergeant King.
Thank you, Chief. Sergeant Bruce King, the Sarasota Police Department Traffic Unit. One of my primary jobs, unfortunately, is that I'm the guy that gets called when, in the middle of the night when there's a pedestrian fatality or accident. And then I, in turn, call the traffic unit over here to my left, and we come in and do the investigation. So we realized there was a pedestrian and bicyclist problem in the city of Sarasota, and we started looking into it, and what could we do about it. We found this program, which was being put on by the DOT, the Department of Transportation, and the University of South Florida. They basically have already put this program out there and offering money to put officers on the street. It's additional overtime hours to go out and do not just an enforcement campaign, but an education campaign. Get out there and talk to people when they cross the street, not in a crosswalk, tell them why it's a bad thing. Actually provide them with some educational material that DOT has provided us. So basically back in 2015, we applied for a 6-month grant. The grant specifies that it has to be overtime hours, so the city actually benefits because we get more cops on the street. The other part of it is that to qualify this grant title is we have to be one of the top 15 counties in the state with the most pedestrian and bicyclist fatalities. So not a great honor, but we're trying to do something about it. So we qualified for the grant, we applied for it, and the first time we applied, they gave us $25,000. It allowed us to put, I believe, about 200 additional hours on the street. We had a significant number of contacts, and did a nice enough job that DOT and USF allowed us to apply again. So we applied again, and this time they gave us $30,000, and recently an additional $5,000 to keep up the enforcement. So the campaign basically starts with interactions, talking to people, handing out flyers, moves into a phase of writing warnings, and then eventually into a phase of citations. So it's a great program. I want to thank DOT and USF for involving us and allowing us to continually participate. I don't know. You want Scott, you have a few words to say?
Scott a chance to come on up and say a few things.
First off, thank you, all of you. For me, it's humbling to be a part of something like this. I'm an avid cyclist, huge outdoor person, and probably more importantly, a father. So your mindset changes when that happens, and you start looking at things a little bit differently. So the question I always get is, are you scared of your life at 200 miles an hour? And I kind of chuckle at it and say, no, I'm more concerned when I'm on my bike or I'm walking, because at that point it's me with no protection in a 4,000-pound vehicle. So to see Sarasota PD and Florida Department of Transportation, everyone step up. There's a lot of people that put a lot of hours in all the time to make this safer streets for us. So to be just a small part of it's extremely humbling, and thank you again for everything you guys do.
Thank you, Scott. Just to add, this is really important to the city of Sarasota. We care about the safety of our citizens. I'm really proud of our traffic safety unit. They came up with this initiative to have more people out on the street to keep our pedestrians and our bicyclists safe. Their safety is important to us. Traffic safety is public safety. We ask everyone, please be cognizant when bicyclists are out in the community. Know our officers are going to be out there educating and also enforcing the law. And please, pedestrians, use the crosswalk. Press the button, not your luck, and be very cautious, okay? Thanks again, Scott, for being here. Again, it's a great honor to have a NASCAR driver here out on our streets and supporting us and supporting law enforcement. And again, I'm really proud of the men and women of the Sarasota Police Department, and I thank the Department of Transportation and also all of our partners when it comes to this safety. Does anyone have any questions?
Do you want to do questions here?
Yeah, we do questions there.
Okay. Yeah, so Scott, you mentioned driving 200 miles per hour. A lot of people watch you, they love NASCAR. They get on the road here, they shouldn't be emulating you on the track when they're driving.
No, it's funny because that's another question you get a lot of times. Do you speed? Do you do this? And I'm probably one of the most mellow people there are on the road, I feel like. And maybe that just comes with doing it other places. But, a lot of times I don't see that. And I think the more I'm around to see the problems that our state has in regards to pedestrian and bicycle safety, probably the more aware I am as a driver to pay attention. I think we all kind of get aggravated behind a bike. I get aggravated at times behind cyclists that aren't doing what they should be doing, and I'm probably as avid as anyone at it. So I try to kind of be mellow and obey the laws, obviously.
You mentioned you're an avid cyclist. What tips would you give to people who are bike riding on these streets, especially at this busy time of the year here in Florida where traffic is really bad?
I mean, I be visible. One of the things I do all the time, day and night, is use flashing lights, strobing lights, and I have found the interactions go way down when I do that. That's just my thoughts, ideas, experience, but something that I have found, and kind of know when to. What I say, I kind of try to learn when to ride big and not. So I choose my battles in regards to taking the lane and try to obviously ride with traffic. That kind of is the one that you don't want to forget for sure. So you're part of the flow.
Yeah, is this your first year being involved with this initiative?
I've been involved with this initiative for 3 or 4 years now, and it's been a lot of fun to see the change, to see the interactions. I did a big bike ride about a month and a half ago where I kind of just slid in on my own, didn't tell anybody I was coming, jumped on the bike and started riding, and I can't tell you how many cyclists pulled up beside me and said, "Hey, Scott, man, we really appreciate what you're doing." And my hopes is that they see what we're doing here and they obey as well and try to help the interaction between cars and cyclists.
Now, Chief DiPino, Sergeant King, I don't know if you guys have the answers to this, but how many pedestrian and cycling deaths do we see in the city? Do we have like a statistical quantifier for this?
Okay, yes.
We have the numbers. They can be provided to you. I gave a copy of them to Genevieve, our crime analyst, broke those down for you. I don't have them in front of me, but we see a significant number of pedestrian and bicyclist fatalities and injuries.
And a lot of those are actually because of the people on the bikes and the pedestrians not following the rules of the road. And you heard what Scott said, wear a helmet, make sure you have lights on both day and night, follow the rules of the road. You are considered a vehicle just like a car, so you have to stay in the right-hand lane, not against traffic, with traffic. You have to stay the far right-hand side. Be visible, ride in the bike lanes themselves. And same things with pedestrians. Make sure you use a crosswalk. Don't jaywalk. Don't, make sure you go with the flow of the light. Press the button. Like I said, not your luck. We'll be happy to provide you with the statistics. It's just we want to save, if we save one life with this type of an initiative, we're going to do everything we can. It's just too many lives that are out there. And so there's things you can do as a pedestrian or a bicyclist to save yourself, but we also want to bring attention to the people that are in vehicles driving on the road to make sure that they give a bike enough space, that they're paying attention, no distracted driving, no texting while driving. Just stay focused on your driving and drive the speed limit. Scott drives really fast on a NASCAR track, okay? He's a professional. That's what he does for a living. I don't think there's many people that are as professional as him, other than maybe police officers. We might be the same when it comes to driving. But that's why he can drive that fast. You have to drive the speed limit, and it's there to help you get to your destination safe. And if you're in a hurry, you need to leave a little bit earlier to make sure you get there. Arrive alive, as we like to say. Drive slow, get there, be patient.
Maybe not even from a statistical angle, but could you talk to it as, from like a figurative, what are you seeing on the streets as police officers here? How bad is this problem in the city?
Well, I could tell you that my traffic safety unit, the officers that are out there on patrol, they respond to every single serious pedestrian death or injury, whether it's a bicycle, motorcycle. And I had to tell you, it's traumatic. It's very upsetting for them to have to go see what happens to people when speed, not wearing seat belts, running red lights, fail to follow and obey the traffic signals. All of those things are things that we absolutely can prevent. In law enforcement, we know there's some things we can't prevent, a lot of crimes, but this is something that citizens can actually do to reduce their death or the injury of someone else. So, but what they see out on the road, because increased traffic, Sarasota is growing and it's big, so we're seeing a lot more traffic, a lot of inexperienced drivers or more experienced drivers that are maybe shouldn't be driving so much out on our roads. Different traffic patterns, because you notice that we have, the circles all coming, so people are not paying attention or they're visiting. And for our traffic safety officers that are out there, they're amazing. I'm so proud of them. We actually, I've seen just in the past year and a half or so, since they've been out on the road being very proactive, a reduction in the number of people that have been injured and the seriousness of the crashes, but it's still too many. And that's why, unfortunately, we qualified for this grant, but we feel lucky that we've got a great spokesperson to support us here and highlight and educate this. We just don't want to keep responding to serious injuries and deaths of pedestrians and bicyclists if we can.
Now, I know I've covered this before, but part of this is ticketing cyclists and pedestrians who are doing the wrong thing too, right?
Yes.
Because they need to, it's not just the drivers that are the problem here.
The grant addresses all of that. Anything that violates the right-of-way of the pedestrian and bicyclist, whether it's the car not stopping at a crosswalk, whether it's a person not crossing in the crosswalk, all of those aspects are involved.
I can tell you from the cyclist side and the motorist side that, when you're on a bike, and you're walking, you kind of feel more able to kind of move quickly, do things, and you got to kind of remember that an automobile can't react as quickly as you can a lot of times. And so I think being steady, being predictable is just a huge thing in regards to the interaction. And my hopes, and I think we're making gains at this, is to humanize the cyclist. It isn't just a bicycle. It is a person. It's somebody, someone, and pretend it's. For me, I look at it and say it's somebody I know. So one life, in my opinion, is way too many.
Chief, do you consider that maybe the city infrastructure also makes it a little bit harder to comply, or makes it a little bit more complicated for drivers to be safe with bicycles?
Well, that's something that a bicyclist has to actually look at. Do you really want to be riding down a place where there's cars parked, two-way traffic, and a lot of different stops and starts? It's probably not the most conducive place, and there are better places to ride. Look at the Legacy Trail. Great place, no vehicle traffic. You can drive for miles and miles and get a good ride in. So you really need to pay attention to that. I don't blame the city for its infrastructure. It's the city. That's how cities are. And actually, there's cities all over the country that are dealing with this. So it's a mixture of education on both the people on the bikes and the vehicles. And just a reminder, you got to stay at least 3 feet away from a bicyclist when you see them. Give them that that road, and they are considered a vehicle, so you need to give them that distance. I can tell you the city is big on looking at how it can make itself more pedestrian and bicycle safe. They're doing some things. They've done things on Old Bradenton Road where they actually have made a specific area that's a bike lane, a little bit different color, so people know to ride there and it's safer. So there are going to be some roads that are more conducive to riding a bike than others, and that's where you just have to educate yourself before you just say, I'm going for a bike ride and right in the middle of a big city where there's lots of cars. Thanks again, Scott. We really appreciate your partnership.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much for having me.